Okay, so we're doing the Secret Santa thing in percussion like we did last year. And last year, my friend Will got me a little Minion water bottle from the dollar store and a decent Rubik's Cube type thingy and a little horse toy thing, which we broke and put spaghetti and him on this little thing. I think it was spaghetti or pizza or something. But this year, for one of the freshman percussionists, Paxton, I went last night to Target. And I bought him this little fidget spinner in the little cards aisle that was $3. And we're supposed to spend $5, and it's supposed to be over 3 days. So first day is $1, second day is $1, and third day is a $3 present. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just not gonna give him anything for the first 2 days. So then he'll build up the hype, and then on the third day I'll give him this, and I'll say that it was $5. So I spent all $5 on this. But yeah, so basically it is just a $3 fidget spinner, and it's all chrome, and there's already, like, inside the package, there's already fingerprints and scuffs all over it and everything. And, yeah, and I just said stimulate your senses on the outside. But basically, I wrapped it in this layer of wrapping paper. Underneath that, there is a layer of full duct tape completely around it all. Under that, there's a layer of printer paper. Under that, there's a layer, or there's 2 layers more of wrapping paper. So it's going to take him, like, the whole period to unwrap. But yeah, it's nice and thick now, but yeah, I'll probably film his reaction and stuff, so if it doesn't take too long, I'll probably have to cut it down and stuff, but yeah, so we're gonna do that in a few days.
So close.
Hey, Paxton.
Parker, you're gonna hate me. You're gonna hate me for my. What'd you get me? Did you actually give me something? Dude, that's fun. Actually, give me something.
I'll let you practice, and basically, when you're ready, come up and see me, and we'll play it real quick. Shh. But some really serious business to attend to right now is we have a couple options movie-wise. Tradition dictates that we watch the Jim Carrey Grit.
We should watch 13 hours.
That's what Mr. McBurney always had them watch, and I'm cool with that. That's fine. If that's really what you want to watch, I understand. I get you. But Polar Express is also on the table. Elf is also on the table. Ready? Come see me. I'll listen to it real quick, and then we'll be done. I need to hear everybody's tambourine quiz, though, by the end of the period. Questions, comments, concerns? Pads can get put away. Go.
I'll go last.
Oof.
Oh, sorry, brother. You also practice the ball.
Also, did anyone not get anything today?
I don't know.
If you did not get anything today, hopefully your Secret Santa will bring your stuff tomorrow, but have some candy. I got it. Can I do the tambourine? No. I'll buy you. I know exactly where to get them.
Okay. I ain't in on this deal.
Get the gong. I'm like 10.
I feel the gong is white. Oh, crap. Oh.
There. Oh. Uno hit him with the left jab. Oh, they're going across there with it now. Come on, folks. Get him, Uno. You can kind of see its head. Oh, down. There's like, oh, there he goes. There's like 6 of them in all.
When I looked out here,
You ready?
this doesn't seem like a good idea.
This seems like a great idea. We're going into the powder. Come on, folks. Brayton! No! Oh! Oh! What? How'd you get down? Oh no, he's getting away. Oh god, I'm gonna go into the fence. Woo! Oh. Almost died.
Okay.
Okay guys, I don't know, this is probably a very dumb idea, but probably can't tell how high it really is, but I just climbed up this pine tree to take a picture of my maze over there. Hopefully it's good enough height. I don't know how I'm gonna get down. I don't know why I did this. Well, you can see that, but I'm, oh my god. Looking straight down, I just realized I'm a good like 30 or 35 feet up. Okay. Well, I'm going to try taking my picture, and then I'm going to try getting back down from here up in this neat little pine tree here. Whew. Okay, guys, I'm about halfway down. Got stuck up there because I was trying to put my iPod away after I tried taking some pictures, and then my glove was under my chest. And I've been holding on for so long for my arms. They're getting so tired, but I'm just trying to maneuver my way down here without falling and epically dying. Oh, what have I done? Okay, here we go. The final step, I think. I feel like a sloth right now. Oh! Oh. Okay. That was a lot easier than I thought, honestly. I was about right there. If you can see that, right there. Now let me go way out here. Yeah, there's a pine tree. I was about like right there. Oh man, it's kind of scary. Okay, I'm gonna go find my dad and little brother. Oh god! Hey guys, welcome back to another episode by Brayton World, and of course today is the 2017 Christmas episode. So for me right now, tomorrow is actually Christmas Eve. But basically, you guys know each Christmas video I always now do my reviews for Star Wars because they always come out. Of course, they're pretty much every year now, and they come out usually around Christmas time. So. But this is my first Christmas video that I'm actually like doing like an actual full-on review because I kind of just started these earlier this year. But I did do my little one for Force Awakens back in 2015. Last year was of course Rogue One, but this is my first actual like full review for Star Wars. So yeah, so let's just get right into it so we can keep this video at least somewhat short, not 2 parts like last year. So here we go. So just a little last thing. I actually went to go see this on a school night, which is very rare. We actually went to go see it this last Wednesday because Christmas break is a lot shorter than it used to be. So anyway, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi is directed by Rian Johnson and is the latest entry to the Star Wars saga. It stars Daisy Ridley as Rey, Adam Driver as Kylo Ren / Ben Solo, Mark Hamill as Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, John Boyega as Finn, Oscar Isaac as Poe Dameron, Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia Organa, Andy Serkis as Supreme Leader Snoke, and Domhnall Gleeson as General Hux. And just a warning, this is a spoiler-filled review, so if you haven't seen this film yet, skip to later in this video, which I imagine most people have already by now. So it starts out with the Resistance evacuating the planet of Dakar and escaping on one of their 2-star fortresses, which was either Cobalt or Crimson. And Poe flies with a ton of bomber ships called Resistance bombers that are shaped like giant T's and very slow and are loaded with at least hundreds of black bombs. They're all trying to destroy one of the Dreadnought-class Star Destroyers, which has a giant cannon on the bottom. Most of the bombers get destroyed while Poe Dameron is being awesome and proving that he's probably the best X-Wing pilot so far. And then my least favorite scene of the whole movie happens where a woman is trying to release the bombs of the last bomber, but falls down the ladder, and so she wakes up later to see flames above her. And so instead of climbing back up to get the remote back, she lays there and repeatedly kicks the ladder, which takes the same amount of time and made her character more of a coward. So she then releases the bombs and dies, and the Dreadnought blows up. And before that, Poe made a prank call type thing to Hux, which is funny, but went on for a little bit too long. And then Snoke calls Hux and force drags him across the ship bridge from across the galaxy, showing that he is a real threat. And BB-8 also drops down into the X-Wing and fixes some stuff, so it was cool to see another droid purpose on space cruisers finally. It then takes off exactly where Episode 7 left off, Rey handing Anakin's lightsaber to Luke, which he takes for a little bit but then throws behind him, which Rey retrieves and sees Luke's X-Wing in the water. And after Luke failing to train Ben, he is scared and reluctant to train Rey because she has raw power as well and has an inability to resist a dark thought once. And many people have been complaining that Luke is not the same character, which yes, he is a lot more unwilling and mean than he's ever been, but after all he's been through, it kind of makes sense. But he also has many scenes with his classic young adult voice, and during the final battle, he has his shorter hair and black suit with a little white on his chest, just like at the end of Episode 6. But this is only in his force projection, not in his physical form. Anyway, Luke and Rey eventually fight because Rey wants the truth, and she fights with her staff and Luke with his staff. But then Rey pulls out her lightsaber, which ends the battle. And after visiting the Millennium Falcon by himself and finding R2-D2, who plays the full hologram message of Leia from Episode 4, he finally agrees to train Rey. He says that it is time for the Jedi to end and shows Rey the ancient tree with the ancient Jedi texts. But eventually Rey leaves with Chewie and R2-D2, and also the most popular new creature in this film are the Porgs, which were great. They were so cute, but not annoying and forced, and not forced to like them, like expected by many. And they just naturally show up when they do, just like a regular bird. And they also annoy Chewbacca, especially in their best scene, in my opinion, where they all come to Chewie at his little campfire, just about to eat a cooked Porg, but they all whine and make sad faces so he doesn't. But anyway, once Rey leaves, Yoda finally makes his return as a Force ghost once again to speak to Luke right as he lights up his automatic torch thing to burn down the tree. And him and Yoda talk for a while, and Luke decides not to. So Yoda summons lightning to strike the tree and burns it down, because he believes that the Jedi should end too. And he was actually a puppet like in the original trilogy, unlike complete CGI in the prequel trilogy, but he does have a CGI Force Ghost effect, of course. So he does look weird, but not as weird as he does in Star Wars Rebels. And he is still a jokester like in the original trilogy instead of always being serious like in the prequel trilogy, but it was very nice to see him again. Anyway, while all of this is happening, Finn finally wakes up in a BAFTA tank that is a suit that is portable, unlike Luke's on Episode 5 at Hoth. Leia demotes Poe for his carelessness, but the First Order can track them even through hyperspeed, so she tells him to go blow stuff up again. But all of the First Order TIE fighters, including Kylo Ren and his new TIE silencer, head towards the ship. Kylo Ren, of course, has carbon fiber-looking stitching on his giant scar, which he later gets fixed, so now it's just a regular big scar. But his helmet is only on one scene where he goes to talk to Snoke in his awesome lair with a red gradient background and his new elite, hopefully I'm pronouncing this right, with his new elite Praetorian guards with their long, sharp, blade-tipped staffs charged with red electricity on his ship, the Supremacy, which is the biggest so far out of all the Star Destroyer-type ships and is not shaped like an arrow. It's like an arrow if it was split in half and then put back together horizontally. He tells him to take off his ridiculous mask and laughs at him, and then Sith lightning strikes Ben to the ground very fastly. So in the elevator, he puts his helmet on his fist and repeatedly punches through the wall until it is on the ground, smashed and smoking. Anyway, he wants to prove his Sith loyalty by shooting the Resistance's ship, but must kill his mom like his dad, Han Solo. So he stops right before he shoots, but the TIE fighters behind him that he earlier told to follow his every move shoot, killing everyone on the main bridge, including, yes, Admiral Akbar. And Leia flies out into space and doesn't move for a little bit, but then does and flies back into the ship, which was supposed to be awesome and finally show her true abilities, but most people laughed, including me, because she looked like one of those witches from Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies Buried. So, so she then has to go to the medical base, and she has drained a lot. And for the time being, she is replaced by a woman with purple hair named Vice Admiral Holdo, who I absolutely hated. She was a complete jerk to everyone and tells Poe to just do his job and does not allow anything. Anyway, Finn tried to escape after all of the ships have been destroyed, including Poe's and the A-Wing, which is a cool little ship that hasn't been seen ever since, I believe, Episode 6. But the sister of the bomber that kicked the ladder from earlier catches Finn trying to escape, and she's a huge fan of him, and her name is Rose Tico. She shocks him. But eventually they escape together to find the Codebreaker Master on a casino party planet with giant animal thing races. But Poe runs into Holdo, who has guards that Poe makes his people pull blasters out onto hold them back as he goes to do something. But it turns out that Holdo was employed by Leia, and everyone evacuates the ship while Holdo stays behind to pilot the ship. And this is about the time that Maz Kanata makes her return cameo from Episode 7 through a hologram chat, and she is battling someone, so she may return, but she may not. On the casino planet, Finn loves it, but Rose does not, and they find the Codebreaker Master, but get into trouble and get thrown in jail, where they find the next best person named DJ, played by the great actor Benicio del Toro, who is good most of the time, but in the end of his screen time, fully turns to the bad guys. So he is somewhat like a Lando Calrissian character. He agrees to help them by stealing a ship if he gets money, and Rose gives him... My dog's in here, by the way, Taco. He's spending the night like he does a lot now. Just if you're wondering what the whining is every once in a while. Anyway, so if Rose gives him half of the pendant that her and her sister, or that her sister had the other half of, they agree, and so BB-8 and DJ work together and they steal the ship, while Finn and Rose escape on the giant animal things that make coins fly everywhere, that makes the little alien mouse type thing very happy, because he was trying to put coins in BB-8 earlier, and now he gets tons for free. And he is actually played by Mark Hamill, by the way, because he wanted to play a CGI character, as well as Luke Skywalker. And then once they get to a cliff, Rose sets her animal free forever, and DJ and BB-8 pick them up to escape from that planet. They disguise themselves as guards and BB-8 as a mouse droid, but the evil version of BB-8, BB-9E, can see him through his disguise. They get to a huge hangar place with tons of stormtroopers after an awesome scene where they get figured out, and two troopers step aside just as Captain Phasma, once again played by Gwendolyn Christie, steps through and greets Finn, who agreed with Han to throw her in a trash compactor the last time we saw her in episode 7. So they get taken to the hangar place, DJ turns to collect his money, and the cool new Stormtrooper executioners come with their laser axe things to behead Finn and Rose just as the cannon goes off. Or, not the cannon, just as the Vice Admiral Holdo goes through hyperspeed, and right as she gets through, she crashes into the main ship. And then it goes silent for a whole, 30 seconds straight or so with an epic ink block colored, epic ink block color, series of shots of every First Order ship, getting split in half, which was very awesome. So Rose hides, and then Finn and Phasma have the much-awaited battle, which I would say definitely pays off. It lasted for about 5 minutes or so, and Phasma takes out her retractable staff, and Finn gets a flip-out electric hammer, and they fight, which has awesome light blue lighting from the electricity mixed with orange from all of the fire, and they fight for a while until Finn finally hits Phasma across the face, making her fall onto the falling rebel. She turns to say her final words, which were, "You were always scum," and Finn replies, "Rebel scum." And a portion of her face is seen for the first time ever, but then the rebel collapses, and so Captain Phasma falls really far down into the fiery abyss. It was also crazy because her platinum armor is crush, laser, lightsaber, etc. proof. After she had very little screen time on The Force Awakens, I was hoping that she would have a lot more screen time in this one, but she sadly had even less. She was only in the greeting scene and then the Finn battle scene, but it was the first time we really got to see her actually battle, and it was definitely a spectacular send-off. My favorite scene was at about the end of the second act, where after a while of Rey and Ben being somehow connected and being able to speak and look at each other from across the galaxy, Ben finally captures Rey and brings her to Snoke. He takes her lightsaber and tells her to switch to the dark side, but she refuses, so Snoke torches her in midair and then keeps her in front of Kylo Ren so he can kill her. But then Ben secretly uses the Force to turn Rey's lightsaber, and then he deploys it. It pans down to the blade going through Snoke's torso, and then he pulls it through the rest of his torso to Rey's hand. Snoke falls into two parts, and his guards come after the two. They stand back. They stand back to back and start battling each guard, and man, it was awesome seeing Kylo Ren and Rey fighting back to back, but mainly a red lightsaber fighting with a blue lightsaber. And then to end it all, Rey throws Ben's lightsaber to him since he dropped it, and he does probably the fastest lightsaber kill of all time, because the last guard was hanging onto him from behind it, and he puts his lightsaber over his shoulder, and then deploys it and undeploys it in about a split second, and then the guard falls down with a hole through his forehead. But then Ben asks Rey to come with her one more time so they can end everything and create their own empire together. But of course she refuses. So overall, no, Snoke is not Mace Windu or Darth Vader or anybody else as theorized by a lot of people, but he is most likely the first Jedi. And towards the beginning of this scene, Kylo Ren and Rey use the Force to fight over her lightsaber, which makes it eventually split in two because they are equal in the Force, and Snoke's lair burns down. So, going back to the flashbacks of Luke and Ben, which Luke was watching over him, Luke was watching over him as he slept, he woke up and instantly deployed his lightsaber, and Luke deploys his, which this is the only time we see Luke's lightsaber. But then Ben uses the Force, which is why all of the buildings on the island are wrecked. And by the way, the island is called, the name of it is Octu. So anyway, every character finally comes together for the battle, which takes place, or the final battle, which takes place on a planet called Crate, which is made of red crystal stuff that is covered in white salt stuff on the surface, so any contact with it turns red. All of the Resistance is trying to set up their temporary base, but has to start closing their door because the First Order had arrived with Kylo Ren's ship, which is the only time that we see it in this film. But they also have the return of the AT-ST, aka the Chicken Walkers, and the AT-AT, but this time they have sharp rivets on the shins. And I don't know if this is for sure, but I say that it's just in case of the speeders, like the snow speeders on the Battle of Hoth from Episode 5. Just so if they go around them with the rope or whatever, then the sharp rivets can like cut it so they don't fall down. So anyway, since the structure of this film is largely based off of Episode 5, but luckily not as exactly based off of another film like The Force Awakens was to Episode 4, if you really think about it. And I could go on and on with the reasons why. But anyway, Some of them tried to escape with the newly introduced characters, the crystal foxes called Vulptex, which is cool because the scientific name for my favorite animal, the fennec fox, is Vulpzerda. Anyway, the Vulptexes can escape through a small hole in a pile of boulders, but Rey arrives and uses the Force to move everyone. And at about this time, Luke shows up to greet Leia, but he now has his shorter hair and his black robes with a little white on his chest, just like at the end of Episode 6. And by then, the battering ram cannon had already blasted through the door, even though some of the Resistance sped towards it with their makeshift, sketchy skimmer vehicles. And then they all leave, but Finn wants it to end, so he keeps going straight into the red charging up beam to crash into the cannon to stop it. And I thought that that was the end for him. But then Rose crashes into him and saves him, but then she's pretty much dead until the end where she is alive but unconscious. Anyway, Luke walks out alone, and he is the only one that does not expose the Red with contact, and Kylo Ren and General Hux are still arguing who is the new Supreme Leader, even though Kylo Ren force-choked Hux earlier. But Ben orders to shoot with everything at Luke, and so they do it for about 20 seconds straight, making all of the ground in the area red, until Hux orders them to stop. He says, "Do you think you got him?" But Luke just keeps on walking. So Ben goes down, they both deploy their lightsabers, and Luke has Rey's, which is weird since it was destroyed, but he must have just been force projecting that too. It turns into a Western standoff-like scene until Luke says, "Strike me down in anger, and I will always be with you," just like old Ben Kenobi said to Darth Vader on Episode 4. And then the two fight for a little bit, but now Luke is insanely mastered, and so he moves so smoothly and Matrix dodges it a lot, and is just awesome. But then he eventually undeploys his lightsaber. Kylo Ren runs at him and swings his lightsaber through his torso, but he turns around and yells when he sees Luke is still fine. So he slowly walks up and slowly pokes his blade through his stomach and then pulls it out, but then Luke says, "See you around, kid," and then walks up and, "See you around, kid," and then vanishes. Ben yells, and then it shows Luke still on his island, still in his regular tan, white, and brown robes and his long hair, and he is sweating and struggling as he climbs back onto the rock that he was sitting on, and then he looks like he is at peace. It then cuts to a brilliant behind silhouette shot of Luke looking at the double sunset once again, and then he vanishes as his robes fly away, because he drained his life force, making him become one with the Force. And I will say this is one of the only 9 or so films that have gotten my eyes to water, or to at least water, because man, that scene really got me. And my dad, by the way, because of course he's been alive since the very first Episode 4 Star Wars film. He's been, because it was 72 and first one was late 70s, so yeah, and I was like one of the biggest parts of his childhood, so yeah, so, and I will say that this was probably, anyway, that scene really got me. So he will probably come back to mess with Kylo Ren, just like Obi-Wan Kenobi did with Vader. But it ends with all the Resistance escaping from the mining planet after Poe states that we are the spark that will light the fire that will burn the First Order down. And Rey sees Ben looking at her through them being connected one last time before they all take off. And it ends with a little boy who has the ring that you can turn the dial to expose the symbol of hope, the Rebel logo. And he then looks into the night skies as a shooting star flies across it, and then he raises his hand and then uses the Force, and then his broom flies into his hand, and then he holds it as though it's a lightsaber. And just real quick, a little reference that I loved was when Luke called his lightsaber a laser sword, just like Kid Anakin did on Episode 1. And I also really loved Luke's way of catching fish with this huge stick thing, and how he milked the big alien thing and got green milk, unlike the blue milk from the original trilogy. And I also loved the little housekeeper alien people on his island. So overall, my pros with The Last Jedi are the choreography, which was way better than Episode 7 in my opinion. It was a lot more space opera again, like the original trilogy. John Williams' score was great once again. Pretty much every returning character improved a lot, especially Poe and Finn. I absolutely love Poe as a character now, because on Episode 7 he was a pretty weak character in my opinion. And it was probably even Mark Hamill's best performance as Luke yet. And Kylo Ren is becoming a great multi-dimensional character that is truly torn between light and dark. But it also connected a lot more to other films of the franchise, and Darth Vader and Darth Sidious were even mentioned. But also the lighting, the world of Crate, along with the Porgs, Vulptexes, with their beautiful jingling sound, etc. The paying homage to the other Star Wars films while still not forcing it, and also how when Rey is holding her broken lightsaber at the end. a kyber crystal can be slightly seen, which this is the first time in a live-action Star Wars film. And lastly, again, the visuals are spectacular, and I loved Rey's scene with the mirror effects of tons of herself and the repeating effect, and then she asks the mirror who her parents are, and it unfogs to show her. And then Kylo Ren later tells her that they were just junkies that sold her off for money. But anyway, I guess we'll just have to wait to find out fully on Episode 9. And I also like the golden dice from the Millennium Falcon that are passed on and have a bigger role than ever, maybe to be setting up their bigger role in the Han Solo movie. But this film is not perfect. Is it better than the whole prequel trilogy? I would say yes. Is it better than Episode 4, 5, or 6? No. Is it better than Rogue One, A Star Wars Story? I would also say yes. And is it better than Force Awakens? I would say maybe a little bit better, if not about equal. First off, the first half or so was quite a drag, and the opening evacuation battle scene was a little too long and could have had at least 5 minutes or so cut off of it. And this is also the longest Star Wars film to date, having a runtime of 2 hours and 32 minutes, making it not too oftenly rewatchable. Also, Vice Admiral Holdo was a horrible character, and in my opinion, Snoke was also supposed to be kind of like the new Darth Sidious type character, but was barely on Episode 7, and while he was great with the screen time he did have, he was still pretty underdeveloped and might return, since it has been shown in a few ways how insanely powerful he really is, but still. And then again, Leia flying back to the ship came off more laughable than cool, and Admiral Akbar's death was pretty underwhelming, and not too mentioned again or too big later on, which is the same thing with Han Solo's death on Episode 7. It was felt at the end of that film, but it's only mentioned about twice quickly in this one. Also, how the casino was filled with a few alien species but had so much potential to show off tons of new species, but was about 90% just interesting looking people. But lastly, how Rian Johnson is already trying to set up another trilogy already with that little kid from the end, and Episode 9 still doesn't come out until 2019, and even then, can't they at least wait like a decade or so before starting another trilogy? Because Star Wars used to be a huge special thing with the original trilogy and kind of with the prequel trilogy. But ever since Disney bought the rights, Star Wars has become just one of those huge films that comes out at least once every year, and I fear that one day they will start some sort of bigger universe with like 3 Star Wars movies a year. Because we already have Episode 7, 2015, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, 2016, Episode 8, 2017, then next year, Solo, A Star Wars Story, 2018, and then Episode 9, 2019. But anyway, that's about everything. But anyway, that is about all. So you can go see it in theaters if you really want to, and I would say that I do recommend it, but if you can't make it out, I do recommend that I will say that you will probably be fine just waiting to rent it or buy it once it comes out on physical media. And lastly, the ending credits have a part with a message that said, "In loving memory of our Princess Carrie Fisher," which was very nice, since she sadly did pass away not long before it was released in theaters, just about 2 months or so. So that was my review for Star Wars Last Jedi. Sorry, it was pretty darn long, as usual, but still not my longest review. So let's get on to the next part, which don't really quite know what that will be, but yeah, so there's my review for Star Wars, Episode 8, The Last Jedi, so on to the next part. Okay guys, so I just got done eating breakfast, and so of course we opened our presents, and so this is all my stuff right here, which I will of course show like always. So starting off with the stocking stuff, basically I just got the candy cane with the Reese's like we get pretty much every year, with all that. And then we got these 3-piece little chocolate, which I get like every single year. But my mom and grandma were talking about how they were coal, and I thought that they were just making it up. But I guess these are actually meant to be representing coal. So probably guys, all you guys are probably just like, God, Bren, you're stupid. Yeah, this whole entire time, we've been getting those in our stockings for as long as I can remember, and this whole time I did not know that those were meant to be coal. Yeah, and then a whole bunch of the chocolate coins. And then the other thing I got in my stocking was these. They were wrapped up separately, but this is one of the things on my list. And basically you only really know what these are for if you're a percussionist like I am. And they're just called drum dots, which are basically these just like kind of jelly pads that they're not necessarily sticky, but they stick to your drum heads completely fine, like that material and everything. But then if you like drop them or get hair on them or whatever, you can just wash them off, kind of like silly putty or whatever. Yeah, and they come in these cool little cases, which are, if any of you still get CDs at all, I don't, but I mean, we still own a lot of them, but they open just like CD cases, so I just thought those were pretty darn cool. And this one's empty. My dad got 2 of them, just so I could put them on my right and left tom, my floor tom, my snare drum. But also if I want to put some on my bass drum, which I probably will after this, and I will show you how it sounded before and how it sounded after. And I told my dad these were the answer to all my drum set's problems, because they're like all tuned, but I just could not get like the ringing to stop. Now there is no ringing. It's not as loud, and it sounds so good now. Like, I've been trying for like almost 3 years now to get my drum set to sound like as perfect as I wanted it to, and these finally did it for me. So these are very, very good. I think they're only like $6 for 4 of them, might be even less, but if you're struggling with your drums at all, then definitely get these. These are so good. But then also, my little brother, one of his presents was, he loves like putty and stuff, so I got this little crazy Aaron's little putty making kit. And he let me keep mine that I make, and you just get a whole bunch of these little tins, and then you get like these little pouches of like different colored putties and different colored like type of putty effects and stuff. And so I made mine, so I just named it Black Soul Galaxy. So it turned a little more pink, but I mixed it with like red, blue, and then like this like pearly white kind of stuff, and then like red and like this weird like glittery type stuff. It's not actual glitter, because that's like my #1 enemy. But yeah, so you can see that, and if you put it up to the right light, it looks pretty darn cool. But it's just a little bit of putty, and I don't really actually have any putty, so he just let me keep that, so I thought that was something worth showing at least. So that is that. And so next up right here is my pajamas. I'm still wearing them. These are like the only ones that still fit me good. The other ones I have are the same exact brand, C9, but they're the gray ones that I got a couple years ago for Christmas, because I like all my pajamas I get for Christmas. My gray ones are finally like way tight around the waist, and they're getting short, so those are pretty much not really fitting me for that much longer at all. So these ones still fit me like perfectly fine, but now I got these, which like none of my pajama pants are actual pajamas like anymore. They're always just like joggers or whatever, and these are kind of just like, I don't know what you call them, but these are like more pants and stuff, and they have pockets and everything, but these are actually joggers. I can't remember what brand they are, but they have a little butt pocket and that little pocket right there, but they look really cool. They're kind of my style of pants and whatnot, so I did try those on, so they're good size and everything. So yeah, so really like those. And then the next thing for my grandma is I got a little card, which I already put with my birthday cards and everything, but it was just a little card. It said Merry Christmas, but she also gave me these, which came in a little tin thing, and they are called Paroline cream-filled wafers, which if you guys remember cereal straws from a long time ago, I used to love them. They're like these like cereal-flavored wafer type stuff with like yogurt stuff, like frozen yogurt, not frozen yogurt, but like the like hard yogurt stuff on the inside. That's pretty much what these are. My little brother was actually drinking some milk. I don't know if he was even alive back when they sold cereal straws, but I used to be a big fan of them for some reason. So yeah, but yeah, so basically these ones are just dark chocolate filled, and they just come in this little bag in there, and you can kind of see them in there. So yeah, so if I kind of take one out here, you can see them there, so they're pretty darn good. I've eaten one so far, yeah, so I probably will keep the tin somewhere once I finish them, kind of like how I keep some things, like my toxic waste thing right there. But then moving on is I got another pair of socks, because I'm like down to like 2 or 3 pairs of socks, and I always get the Hanes X Temp. I absolutely love these socks. But usually they're always just like white and just look like that. But these ones are all gray and look more cool. So, so yeah. So main reason why I like them is because the seams right there. Most socks like push into the side of your toes, but those ones are like the only socks that don't, and they're like the most comfortable socks that I know of. So yeah. So anyway, other than that, my little brother and big brother picked this, or my little brother and my dad picked this out for me. It's the Assassin's Creed, the Americas collection. So it's basically all the America-based games. So this one I have actually never heard of. I believe it's sadly only Xbox Live only. So I don't know if I'll be able to play that. but it's called Assassin's Creed Liberation. And then Assassin's Creed 3, which if you guys remember, I already have that one. So now I just have like 2 copies of it. I have like the Platinum Edition one. And then Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which I have played most of the campaign. I did videos on it a very long time ago. I can't remember if they're still up. But so before this I had Assassin's Creed 3 and Assassin's Creed Revelations. But now I have these 3. So yeah, so those ones all come on discs, but then this one's actually download only, but surprisingly only takes 1.75 gigabytes, so that's not that bad. But yeah, so of course the disc 1 and disc 2 for Assassin's Creed 3 and Black Flag right there. So I pretty much already played through all of Assassin's Creed 3. And Black Flag I played most of, but for free play, like just going around and like abilities and everything, probably Revelations is my most favorite, since like before my Xbox deleted everything again a while ago, my guy was all tricked out and he had like all the weapons, like the crossbow, and like his suit was like blue and gold, and I also bought that really expensive tower and everything. So for free play, Revelations is probably my favorite, but for campaign, Black Flag is probably my favorite, just like the ship levels and everything. So yeah, so that's a pretty cool thing I got there. So then the other thing is this little present, which might not be too exciting to you, but for me it is pretty exciting. It is a Duracell battery for this camera that I'm filming on right now, because the battery that I have in it right now that came with my camera, my Canon battery with my Canon camera, lasts for a while and it's pretty darn good. But then my other ones that I got with like this like whole camera like cleaning kit and everything that came and it's by Vivitar, but it along with all of the different like cleaning supplies and whatnot, it also came with 2 little batteries right there, but each one of these literally lasts like 10 minutes or so. So those are pretty much useless, and I've been talking to my dad about that, so he finally got this for me, and it's Duracell, so this one should last just as long, if not maybe even longer than my Canon battery. So this will be very helpful. So now I have 4 batteries, 2 that actually last very long. So yeah, so then the other thing is pretty much all camera stuff. So basically I was looking at this on Amazon with my dad, and we thought it was very, very cool, so I will explain what that is in a second. But first off, I got a whole bunch of little attachments, so I'll just put the camera right here while I show you guys all of those with my light on. So the first thing I guess I'll show right here is a whole bunch of different things to work with that other thing I just showed. But this is one of the cords. I don't really know what this one's for. I thought I could plug in my camera, but it can't. So I don't really know what that one's for, but it's basically to plug in whatever device you have on it at the time, to connect your camera or whatever to the mic and everything. And then this one is for, that part goes in your microphone with the little label things right there. That part goes into the microphone, and this part goes into your smartphone or whatever. So this is so I can use it with my iPod and everything, so now I actually have like a external mic and everything. And then this is just a little extra attachment to attach the light elsewhere or whatever. So it's on a little ball joint, of course, and then the little loosen thing to get that, and then that screw and that screw. So yeah, so that is that. And then what is it? Oh yeah, I already showed that. And then it also comes with this, which is a GoPro mount, and I still do not have any GoPros, but I have a lot of GoPro mounts for all the different camera equipment I've gotten over the years and whatnot. But then this is an extra little lens cover, which of course I do have one. But the nifty thing about, yeah, this one doesn't have one, but the nifty thing about this is I have it tied to my little thing on my camera where you can tie the lens cover onto. But this is my lens cover. It has this clip on the back where you can actually clip it to the neck strap, so that's why I like this one. And just as can you just like squeeze those to get it on and off, which I showed when I first got this camera a while ago now. But it came with this, so I don't think I'll really use this too much. But yeah, this one definitely has a lot more spring load. You can see that one really goes a lot farther and everything. But there's the string for that one. It's actually somewhat stretchy, but yeah, so there's that. And then along with that, you got this little thing which can go around your wrist or whatever, but it's just this little dot which you can take off this little thing right there, and then it's actually a little sticky thing which you can stick right there, and then it basically holds on to your lens or whatever. But I don't know how much I'll use either of those, since I already have a lens cover that can connect to my camera, and it has the little clip to connect to my strap and everything. But then the next thing is it also goes on my thing that I'll show in a second. But this is the iPod, iPhone holder, whatever. And basically it screws on right there. And then you can also screw on something right there. And then it has a little level right there. And then another screw thing right there. And then a little attachment thing right there. So definitely very tactical. And then it has little rubber things right there to keep it nice and not scuffed up or everything. And that is the logo right there, the company 7orc, or however you say it right there. And how you get this so you can put different size things in there is you turn that and you can see, or you probably can see that it is raising a little bit, so then you can fit things in there. So yeah, so that's pretty nice. But then the other thing I got right here is these three things, which one is a little extra attachment thing for my light, which I don't think I'll use that much because I attach my light elsewhere, but it's just like a little sliding rail thing that you can connect right there, and this dial is to tighten it, of course. And then these two are lens, like things to go around your lenses. This you have probably seen, which basically you put on your lens and you can basically turn them to wherever you need to block off the sun a little bit so you don't have as much lens flares. But you see that a lot in photography, and also I do a lot of photography, of course. So then the other thing is this, which is pretty much almost the same thing, but it goes all the way around your lens, and it's just to get like all the way around nicer footage or pictures or whatever. And what's cool about this one is it's like this weird rubber material, but then this ring right here is actually pretty darn hard and it's like metal. But you can also see that it actually pops out like one of those little to-go dog bowls or whatever. And yeah, it just like pops out in 3 different ways, and you can see how thick that is right there. So yeah, so sadly my dad did ask someone on Amazon if this would work with my Canon SX530HS with this camera right here. They said that it would, and the description said that it would, but sadly it is too big. So that's the only thing about all of this stuff, is it is too big. You can see this, it just goes right over my lens. But what we did order right after we figured out that everything was too big is you can actually get a ring that connects to the outside of your lens right there. And then it's a little extension ring which makes it so you can hold bigger stuff on it. So this is like just too big for my lens size. So once we get that, it's actually arriving this Friday, so I'll show it on the next day vlog. So definitely make sure to subscribe and everything like that so you can see that if you want to. But once I get that this Friday, today's Monday of course, Christmas, but once I get that I will be able to use all of this stuff. So that was pretty darn good, because I was kind of bummed out once I figured out like, oh, all this stuff that goes on my lens or whatever, I can't even fit on my lens. But yeah, so it's just a little ring. I can keep it on there because of course right around my lens is where my lens cover actually grabs onto and holds on. So that's basically what the ring does. It just goes on there and goes on, and I should still be able to fit it in my camera equipment bag, my Manfrotto bag. So then I will be able to I will just be able to keep that on. So then that's probably where this lens cover will come in handy, because then of course my lens will technically be bigger, so then I'll probably have to start using this one. So once I get that, I don't know if I'll still use that lens cover, but I'll probably tell you on the next day vlog what my new setup is. So again, stay tuned so you can see that. But then I also got another one of these microfiber cloths. I have quite a ton of them. I don't know where I'm going to keep that one. I have like one that I keep in my room, and then I have like a big one and a mini one that I keep in my camera bag. But then right here is a whole bunch of lenses, which again are won't really work on my camera until I get the ring this Friday, because of course they're too big also. But they both come in little cases. I really like this one. This one's pretty nice, but it's just, this one feels a little more high quality. But this is by Vivitar again, Series 1. But first off, I'll show this one. So it's just, this one's by Ultra or whatever, Ultra Photo. But basically open it and it's nice black and purple contrast. And you open it like that, and then it has 3 lenses. You can see the 3 pockets there. And these ones are pretty much all different solar lenses. Of course, you can't take pictures of the sun, unless if you tape like a whole bunch of these together. But of course, how I take my pictures of the sun and the solar eclipse and stuff was through my solar eclipse glasses, which worked perfectly fine, of course. But yeah, so that's like the darkest one in this. And then you have this one, or actually I don't think that's the darkest one, but yeah, because this one you can see is a little bit darker. And these ones are actually pretty darn nice. I've never really held one of these in real life. but they're actually heavier than I thought. And you can see that they kind of turn on the outside a little bit, and they just clip onto your lens right there. But basically, if you want to see that, you can see it's much darker. But yeah, so I don't know how often I'll use these, but probably during short films and stuff, we'll probably use them a lot more. But yeah, so that's that one. And then the last one here is right there. So that one's pretty, it's not too dark, but yeah, so those are pretty much all just different shades of solar lenses. And then that's just like a little trifold type thing that closes up like that. And then the other thing, these are also lenses, a lot more Velcro there, and this one opens like that. So this one actually has 4 pockets, so you can actually fit 4 in there, but it only comes with 3. But this one is a little more creative. This one I don't really know what it's for, or I believe it was this one. No, it was this one. This one you can see it's completely clear. If I put it on there, it does not change anything. So I believe it was like some sort of polarized camera or something like that. So probably when you're filming like through like polarized stuff, then it won't have like the checkerboard kind of stuff. But these ones are actually heavier. These ones you can see actually have a separate little dial thing, so you can see it's turning right there. But it's again metal and everything. Yeah, so that's that one. It's just a little bit darker. And then the other one was, of course, this one, which is basically just completely clear, the polarized one. And then you have this one, which I can't remember exactly what it's for, but you can also just get a nice funky look. This one's like all violet, so you can see it's all color changed. So yeah, but you can see it's just kind of like pinkish and stuff. So yeah, so that is all of that stuff. So those are the lenses in there, and a 4th little extra spot. So yeah, so that is all that stuff. But then over here, my main thing, or second to main thing, is this. This thing, it's definitely a lot heavier now that I have batteries in it. But you can see it is like a mini stadium light. So yeah, so tons of LEDs right there, which you can actually feel. But then you actually have little lens covers, which are very easy to take on and off. You have this one, which kind of just makes it like a more even white light, which is kind of just this foggy white one. And then you have this one, which is yellow, which is kind of funny because I shined it on the roof in my kitchen. You can actually see like all the like fuzzies and stuff up there when you can't like see them just with your bare eye. But then this is a little attachment piece, which basically just makes it so I can put it where I need it to be. And then you can actually attach a whole bunch of these if you get a whole bunch of these lights. That's what like that is for, and that and that. And you can actually connect a whole bunch of these lights. And then if you have the right batteries, you can actually charge it with, or you can actually load it with different batteries right there. Which it looks like you can fit about 2 different sizes right there. But if you don't have those types of batteries, you just push this little knob thing up right there, and then pop open that door, and it takes quite a bit of batteries. But yeah, so 6 AA batteries right there. But yeah, that closes like that. And then all your controls, you have that little plug-in thing right there, which I don't need to use. But then you have your little on and off button. So you saw how bright it was for a second there. And then, which you basically just like lightly or you lightly push that down, and then it can stay on, or you can just kind of do that and it doesn't stay on. And then you saw that right there. You can actually see that little piece of plastic is shaped like a battery, and then when you press that, I don't know why you can see that, but there's little dots showing your battery power. And of course it's still 4, there's 4 dots, and of course mine is still all 4 dots. And then this is a little dial to adjust the brightness settings, and just in case if you want to buy this exact light, that is it's the same brand, and those are all the letters and everything. But yeah, so for the lights, of course I'm going to turn it on here. So this is actually at its lowest setting. I don't want to shine it exactly into my camera because I don't want to damage anything, but that's actually at its lowest setting. But then if you go up, you can see it gets even brighter, and actually somewhat turns colors, because it's like white right there, and then it turns like bluish a little bit, and then turns somewhat pinkish a little bit, but it's actually just white. It's just kind of weird. But yeah, that's actually it on the max light, which I probably will only use it on that because I don't like, this can light up like a whole entire like shooting set. Like if you're filming in the dark, like this can light up a whole yard. So I don't know how much lumens it is, but it's definitely very bright. So yeah, so of course on maximum setting that will burn through the batteries pretty darn quick. But yeah, and then you can just see that right there, and then you can see it's actually lighting up the inside a little bit with the green and everything. But yeah, so very, very bright. Definitely whenever I need some extra light, that will be very, very handy. And then of course you can put the different filters on there. And there's just these little, like, that tab right there and that tab right there, and then it interlocks with these two tabs. And you basically just slide that tab in with that side, and then you just kind of bend it just a little bit, and then pop it in on this side over here. If I can get that. Yeah, so then you can see now it is on, and that doesn't change too much. You can just see it spreads the light out a little bit more, so this is probably the most useful one, and it's definitely a lot nicer, not as harsh lighting or anything. So then the yellow one right here, you can see, of course, it turns it completely yellow, and then you can see all of the fuzzies and cobwebs. So if you're searching for any cobwebs in your house, this is definitely useful, because when I shined it on the ceiling and the roof with, I don't know what it's called, but it's like that fuzzy roof material, if you know what I'm talking about. And you can see like all the fuzzies stuck to it and everything. But yeah, so you can see that's just, of course, yellow lighting. So you can definitely get some cool lighting and stuff with that also. But you can see it's like a little bit more of a greenish yellow, but then it turns into like just pure yellow. So yeah, so definitely very, very cool. I think that will come in handy every once in a while. But then the last thing pretty much is this, which this I believe is like 199 something on Amazon. So this is like my main present that I got here. It's a lot bigger in person than I thought it was. This, of course, everybody calls them like squirrels, but usually they're just the little sticky things that you put on your mic to block off like when you blow on your mic, and it's just like it makes all the sound and everything. On regular mics for like podcasts or whatever, they're called pop filters. On these, they're just called windscreens. But of course, this is not for your average handheld camera. This is for like the mic on here. So this is a big old one. So this actually looks like a little balled up squirrel. So you can see it's nice and soft and fluffy and everything. So yeah, so definitely you can see right there. And then the mic, it definitely holds on pretty darn tight. And I might put it on, I don't really know. But yeah, so this is the main thing, which I can't remember what it's called exactly. But it's by 7work again, which again you can see the logo right there. But basically it is just a whole camera kit holder thing that just combines a lot of your camera equipment that you would normally have in a whole bunch of places into one big thing. So yeah, so basically you got these things on the bottom, so you can just like you can just kind of set it down right there or whatever, and it's completely level, if you can kind of see that. I don't know how you guys can see that, but and there is traction, of course, on the bottom of both of those. So I was saying it could be like a little sled, and you could go sledding. But yeah, so that's a little thing so you can like set it down or whatever, and you can actually put it on tripods with that right there. But then you can see this thing is kind of like a little bit of a coffin shape, and then it's kind of like a gearbox or whatever, and you can take this thing all the way up, or you can go to the sides, whatever. There's tons of different places that you can put this. But on the bottom is the little dial to tighten it up onto whatever you need to tighten it up onto. Or if you're not doing that, you can also, of course, put it on a tripod, which I don't think you would usually have to, but just in case if you need to. But then that's also the dial, so you can put it onto your camera or whatever. This is also where this thing would go to actually hold your iPod and everything right there. So yeah, but then that thing right there, I don't really know what it's for. It's just a little loop if you want to put whatever on there. But then yeah, so then of course that's where your camera sits, and of course there's more padding and traction right there, and then there's really cool ridges and everything. And this whole thing, of course there's metal on it, but all of this and everything is plastic, but it's like really, really strong. It feels kind of like reinforced ABS or something, so pretty darn good plastic. Yeah, and then you can see there's rubber for grip right here, all the way around, and then right there for your thumb. So yeah, so you can either hold it like that, kind of like a pistol grip, and then you can kind of hold it like that for level shots, or you can hold it like that and kind of just hold it like a bag or whatever. So yeah, and then of course that's where your thumb goes right there on that little circle. So yeah, so definitely probably not going to use this like insanely a lot, but definitely for short films and skits. So I guess I will use it quite a bit because I do a lot of skits. Short films I usually try keeping it about like 3 a year at most. And that's usually all I'm about to produce at most a year, if that. But skits I can definitely do a lot more of. So yeah, so that's where your camera goes. And then yeah, of course there's just lots of nice padding to protect the bottom of it. And then up here there's another tactical attachment thing right there for whatever you want to put right there. And then this is of course the built-in mic, which is actually a pretty darn good mic. I tested out with my iPod, and even without the windscreen, my dad was blowing right on it and you can just barely hear that wind noise and everything. So it's a really good mic, and it's really clear sound and everything. So for a built-in mic and for not being like insanely expensive, that's pretty darn good. But then this little arrow right here, you'd have to have a lot of separate batteries, because 6 for that. And then right here again, that kind of just opens up like so. But this only takes 1 AA battery, if you can see that. So pretty darn good there. Yeah, so you do still have to plug in your device or whatever, which is what all these cords are. So basically you would plug in the microphone side into that right there, which you can see it shows a little camera icon, and you plug one side into it right there, and then one side into whatever your device is. And then of course the mic input is on the front right there, and then right there, and then right there, and there's none on the top or bottom, but that's good because you can get like audio from the front and then to like both sides and everything, so pretty much completely around. And then on the top you can see it has a little light to tell when it's on. You can see now it's on right there. But then the controls, of course, that is the on and off switch. So of course you won't get, if your device is plugged in, you won't get any audio unless if that is on, which is pretty easy to tell. And then right here, I don't know what these are for yet, but there's this one with like a straight line and a little bit curved line right there, if you can kind of see that. And then right here there's one with like a 0 on the bottom, and then plus 10 dB. So I don't really know what those are for yet. I'm still kind of looking over the instructions and whatever, but of course those are just all little like one switch things. But that is that. So yeah, so it's again a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be in real life. So I don't really know where I'm going to put all this stuff yet, because of course my camera bag here is pretty much filled. Of course my camera, I'm filming it with it right now, but my camera that I'm filming with right now goes right there. If you can see that, my camera goes right there. But other than that, you can see it's pretty much filled. Of course my old tripod I don't keep in there anymore, because I got my new tripod for my birthday a couple months ago. So that's pretty much filled. So I don't know if I'm gonna find a place for this and show it on the next day vlog, but either way I will definitely find a place for it. Yeah, so over here you can see that I do have all my stuff in here. So you can see like my mic right there, and then my old tripod, and then my actual like really good tripod, which again, just a little update, I do absolutely love it, my US Camel one right there. So oh yeah, and also my Secret Santa thing from the beginning of this video, that's what I got a big old bag of Jolly Ranchers and suckers right there, which I've been eating on, but here's a picture of it all there. So yeah, and then that toy for Taco I picked out, and so yeah, so probably by the time I film the next day vlog, I will have a place for all this. But I do have some stuff to show on the next day vlog, like I will do. I did, of course, with my grandma's card that she gave me. She also gave me $20, so that was really awesome of her. And I do have some money left over from my paycheck, so now I'm back up to like 75, I believe. So on the next day vlog, definitely make sure to tune in, because I will show. I'm not planning to spend all that, but am planning to buy like whatever I didn't get off my list. I'll probably buy some of that stuff. But yeah, so I do have some stuff to show, like 2 more new custom Lego minifigures, updated movie poster, and that thing over there. So yeah, so definitely tune into the next day vlog. I'm just not going to show it now because this video is already pretty long. But yeah, so definitely please check into the next day vlog. I will show all that stuff, give an update on my life and everything. And yeah, and maybe show where all this stuff is. And of course by then I will have my ring, so then all this stuff will be able to be used. And I'll probably use it in my next short film whenever I start filming that. So yeah, so definitely make sure to check in that for that. And I don't know if I'm going to be filming anything else for this day vlog, because I don't really know what else we're doing, because my mom actually has to work today. So we actually pretty much had Christmas dinner, or not, we didn't really have a Christmas dinner. We had a pretty good dinner last night, which you would have saw the pictures of. But this morning, that's why we had like such a big breakfast. Like usually we don't have near that big of a breakfast, of course. But that's kind of what we were doing. So we pretty much had Christmas breakfast and my grandma over in the morning instead of the evening, and instead of Christmas dinner, since my mom has to work tonight. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. So if it is, I'm just gonna end this day vlog or this Christmas video off right now. But if not, then I'll pick it back up, but I don't think so. So of course I will show how my drums also sound with these things. So yeah, so I'm gonna end this video off, and then I will show you how they sounded before from my latest freestyle drumming video, and then how they sound now. So yeah, so hopefully you guys all had a great Christmas. I had a pretty good one. And yeah, definitely check out the next day vlog whenever that will be, probably a week or two more, and that will be coming out. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for now. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.